After getting swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves in 2023 and not reaching the playoffs last year, the Phoenix Suns are on a mission to reach the playoffs once again and compete. The man leading this charge will be Devin Booker, who signed a 2-year, $145 million contract extension. With a lot of critics about his game and how he's played in recent years, fans are questioning whether Devin Booker has passed his prime or if he still has that hunger to compete at the top level. And with a change in role for this Suns team, he'll be back to being the first option, but now as a point guard. So let's discuss how all of this will benefit Booker and how good of a point guard he can be. Devin Booker, a pure shooting guard, an elite scorer, but now an elite playmaker too. The last 2 years the Suns have not had a natural point guard, and in return we have seen Devin Booker step up to perform that role. Last season Booker averaged 7.1 assists per game. In the 2023-24 season he averaged 6.9 assists, and the season before that, where we still had Chris Paul running point, he had 5.5 assists per game. So you can see the leap in his game post Chris Paul and how he's had to adapt his game to fit his surroundings, with the likes of Bill and Kevin Durant coming into the team. Now, let's look at Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Donovan Mitchell across these 3 years. Last year, Luka averaged 7.1 assists, Shai averaged 6.4 and Mitchell averaged 5. In 23-24, Luka had 9.8, Shai had 6.2 and Mitchell with 6.1. And in 22-23, Luka had 8, Shai had 5.5 and Mitchell had 4.4. So when comparing Booker to scoring point guards, you can see the numbers are relatively similar, if not better. Now, someone like Shai is an elite scorer, so he's averaging 30 a night and 6+ assists per game, same as Luka. But Booker can achieve this too, because we know he is an elite scorer, but we'll get to that later in the video. Now, looking at the turnover rate per game, Booker over the last 2 seasons has 2.9 and 2.6, whereas Luka has 3.6 and 4, Shai has 2.4 and 2.2, and Mitchell had 2.1 and 2.8 turnovers per game. So his assist to turnover ratio is quite good, coming out at an average of 2.4 assists per turnover. So we know Booker can replicate the playmaking of the elites around him, but with the Suns losing Kevin Durant, it means all the gravity is with Booker and he will be double teamed. Yes, he will have Jalen Green, but teams will be happy to leave Jalen open if it means they can trap Booker. So how does Booker deal with the double team? Let's find out. So doing some research, I found that Devin Booker was double teamed in 28.4% of his possessions in 22-23, and the team averaged 1.25 points per possession when this happened. Now look at this list, it's full of elite players, elite names that face double teams. The only player whose team averaged more points when their star was double teamed was the Bucks with Giannis, when they averaged 1.26 points per possession. Now Booker has top decision making when being double teamed, and his team reaped the rewards. I mean, look at the next game as an example from pre-season. The Nets trap Booker at half court and Booker finds Dillon Brooks for the open 3. He should have passed one more to Malawak for the open dunk, but it don't matter. I expect to see this happening a lot to Booker and for the whole season, which means the team will have to execute their offense when they are open. Another reason why I think Jalen Green will do well, but let's stay on track rather than transitioning to another segment. Funnily enough, the next bit is about transition and Booker's ability to get transition buckets. For the past 2 years, we have not seen this enough in Phoenix, and a large part of it is because of the roster construction. I mean, we had Nurkic and Plumlee as our centre depth, and aging Royce O'Neal as our only wing. I love you, Royce, this ain't slander, it's just true. And a 37-year-old Kevin Durant. On top of that, we had Mike Budenholzer, who was telling us to play random, so we could not effectively get transition buckets, nor see the best of Booker in those scenarios. Now, I'm going to be going back to the 22-23 season, where he had his insane playoff run, but just look at the stats. He was first in transition points, he was first in isolation points, first in drives. You know, there's so much things that he was first at. We can glaze all we want, but mainly he ranked first on transition points and drives. Now, let's look at the Lakers and Nets preseason games as 2 examples. After Jackson Hayes dunks on China, the real Booker gets the ball and drives at their Lakers defense and draws an and one. Booker wants to play fast, he wants to exploit defenses when they are not set, but the past 2 years he's not had the team to effectively execute it. Another example is the next game where he gets his steal, he drives to the rim and finds Brooks for an open 3. Booker can play fast whilst making reads other players won't ever see, and this roster that we've constructed this season, it may not be the best, but it certainly does help him play fast. One of the things Booker has mastered is the pick and roll game. Booker in 23-24 generated 1.21 points out of the pick and roll, which ranked in the 93rd percentile of the league. Shout out Mike for this research, article will be linked below. Playing with Chris Paul has leveled up his game and he has learned a lot from the point guard. What makes Booker so effective is once he gets the screen and he enters the mid-range territory, he can literally do anything. His midi is one of the best in the league, so you can't leave him open. His three-point shooting is good, so if he wants to take a step back three, he can easily do so. He can drive to the rim and finish at the basket, or he can kick it out for an open three to his teammate. Here's an example against the Lakers. Booker gets a screen from Oso and he drives to the free throw line. Now he can either pull up for the midi, he could drive to the rim or pass it out. Because Rui knows he can do all three of those things, Rui comes across and he tries to help out. But Booker reads it, he sees that Brooks is open in the corner, passes it to Brook and he gets his first ever bucket as a Phoenix Sun. Great reading of the game and perfectly executed. As I said earlier, we have to talk about his scoring now. Even in a down season, he still averaged 25.6 points per game, which ranked 12th in the league. Not bad for someone who supposedly washed. He also did this while being second option. In 23-24, he averaged 27.1 points. This is what makes Booker so dangerous and generates so much gravity towards him. If you double him, he'll find the open man. If you leave him in a 1v1, he'll get a bucket or draw a foul. He can find solutions in split seconds, which is what makes a big difference between the great and the elites. Now, a big concern is that us Suns fans don't want Booker to lose that aggression he had early on in his career, where his main focus was on scoring rather than playmaking. But it could also be a sign of his game developing, of his game maturing, because he is trying to take a playmaking leap. Booker can still get you 30 points tonight while also getting 6 or 7 assists. Booker needs to realize though, when his team needs him, it's time for him to get scoring. It's time for him to get buckets. Even in pre-season, our first game against the Nets, at halftime he only had 6 points and it was all through free throws. Then when it came out the half, he got 12 points in the third quarter and eventually we came back and we won. But it took a half-time and Jordan speaking to him for him to realize what he needs to do. We need Booker to realize that when his team needs him, he can put them on his back and he can get 6 or 7 consecutive buckets in a row, because we've seen Devin Booker do it. Once he finds a balance between this, we are going to see a great season from him. Also, not that I think he takes notes of stuff like this, but when the NBA personnel, I believe it was GMs, voted for the top 5 shooting guards, Booker was nowhere to be seen. In fact, there were point guards like Luka and Steph over him. I mean, the disrespect he's faced over the last 2 years means we need a big rebound from Booker to answer critics, because us Suns fans know how good Booker is, but maybe the rest of the league are starting to doubt him. And with him being the first option, saying that he hated the offseason being so long as the Suns didn't make playoffs, it's time for him to make a statement and be one of the best guards in the leagues. Can Booker do it? Definitely. He has all the tools and a much more balanced roster to help him do it. Let's get ready to see it next season.